Can I think I want to give you a question. When you start designing some training, how do you do it? How do you start?
That's a good question, also a very simple question.
Yes.
Can I have that one? The first thing I do is I start in the middle that you can't really see here. I start looking at the learning goals.
Yes.
And the learning goals is basically thinking about your yellow area.
Yes.
The what if.
Yes.
What do they need to be able to do when they come back home?
Yes.
It's so important that I focus on their tasks back home.
Yes.
Because otherwise I fall into the trap of just teaching for the sake of teaching. Because I like driving my motorbike, so I like to teach you about my motorbike. But maybe you don't even want to drive a motorbike.
No, that's right.
You know? So
maybe I don't even have a motorbike.
Yeah. So what do they need to do back home? And that's basically already creating part of my what if.
Yes.
And that's good because a lot of people are struggling here.
Yes.
So when I have that, let me just take these blocks here. So basically I already created my what if. Now quite often then I start thinking about, okay, if they need to be able to do something at home, what am I going to teach?
Yes. Yes. What is the topic?
What is the topic?
What is the expert knowledge
you're
going to share? Yes.
How I'm going to practice that,
yes,
so that they can do this back home.
Yes.
And then of course I need to come up with the why. And now I put this one last, but sometimes it comes first as well. There's no right or wrong here. It depends a bit on the topics as well. But then I say, okay, so how do I create an experience? How can I relate that to their daily life?
Yes.
And that means that we get the process of format, which is very easy.
Yes.
Now, one thing we need to be careful of, that I like the blocks here, but I even like the circle better, is because I want to go around the circle and I want to make sure that these constantly are connected.
Yes.
And that's very important. Another thing for me is important to think about, how do I create during the training these experiences so that it fits to learning styles. Yes. Because part of format is the learning styles.
Yes.
So this is about the feeling, about the connection,
yes,
about being involved. So I need to make sure when I create that wireframe that the people get their wireframe, it's their wireframe,
yes,
that they get involved, that they reflect. Here I need to make sure that the experts get the expert knowledge they need.
Yes.
Because otherwise I will lose them.
Yes.
Here I make sure that the hands-on people get the practice.
Yes. And actually everyone gets the practice.
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. And here I make sure that the people that are out there that are already thinking further, that they get to think. But like you say, everybody needs to practice.
Yes.
Everybody needs to theory, because what am I going to practice without?
Yes.
So even if I'm having a preference for just sitting here and talking about things and reflecting and stuff, we know in the end, if I need to do something at home, they need to go through the whole circle.
Yes.
And making sure that they get those experiences in those different learning styles.
Yes.
Because that's again how our brain works.
Yes.
We need this experience in our brain. We need to connect.
Yes.
We need to have the concepts. We need to exercise, and we need to think, how can we apply this?
Yes.
Because that's how our brain works.
Yes. It is actually just brain-friendly learning.
Yeah.
And the format helps us with the recipes somehow.
Exactly.
Because there's also more to it, because we actually always start with the learning goals, like you said. We also think about, okay, who are the participants? What is the target group? Yeah. Because that could also relate to how do we plan our training.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
And it is natural when we talk about it, and it's natural for lots of people, but we also see still too many trainers that try to design a training for a too big target group.
Yes.
I once
do you think too diverse or too many people? Too diverse.
Too diverse.
Yes.
You can never have too many people. I think.
Related to the where you are, or if it is online to the software.
Of course, and how many you can handle, but two diverse groups.
Yes.
I once did a training for project managers on presentation skills, And what I saw, the typical error that they made when they created a presentation, it was 200 slides because they had to have it for the stakeholders, they had to have it for their own boss, there was a financial department, there was some external journalists that needed to know something, and everything was in one.
Yes.
So you need to be very sharp on who am I teaching,
Yes. That's right.
and what do they need to be able to do
Yes.
with it afterwards.
Yes.
I mean, water bottle, topic.
Yes.
Am I teaching somebody how to drink?
Hmm?
Am I teaching somebody how to clean?
Yes.
Am I teaching something how to make one? How to dispose one? It's still the same topic, but
Yes.
it's a different target group.
Yes.
You can't mix it all.
No.
And,
right.
and that's what we see too many times, that people mix too many different target groups.
Yes. Yes.
And that's very important because you need to stay sharp.
Yes. On the goal and on the target group. And
Yes.
then you can create your format design.
And
Yes.
then that will be tailor-made and sharp as well.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you can use some of what you did here for other target groups, but maybe just half of it, or you need to redesign slightly, and maybe part of the this here you can use as well.
Yes.
Those, of course, not, because that one should be completely different for another target group.
Yes. Yes. And when the participants are in the yellow area, they actually are on their own, because we as trainers we give loose, and then they find out, how can I use what I have just learned in my
Exactly.
daily life?
Exactly.
How will it give impact to my job? Yes.
And this one goes on after the training. You could
Yes.
even have a follow-up session and
Yes.
talk about what happened, and
Yes.
what did they implement, and how did they do
Yes.
it, come up with case stories,
Yes,
success stories,
yes,
etc. So this
Yes.
Continues.
Sharing success stories and
and
following
this
up
start
is
before the training.
Yes, sometimes. Yes, and also in the training, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is actually sort of a cake, I say, because a format is we always very often start with the learning styles. How do we all learn different? And then we put on the feeling brain, the thinking brain, another layer in the cake, 4 steps: why, what, how, and what if. Then we have the 8 steps: connect, attend, image, inform, practice, extend, refine, and perform. And we can build up, and there's so close connection to everything, and that is also some of the pride with this model. It's not just learning styles, we learn different. It's a model related to how are you structured, how are your participants structured, and related to the very, very powerful process, which I think is perhaps the most brilliant part, because I think when we are able to stretch to meet the different learning styles, and we are able to create the emotional experience and make sure that we give the control to the participants so that they find out, okay, how can I use this in my daily life?
Exactly.
Then I think we succeed with the training.
I would say format is the most easy thing I've met in my life because it's so natural.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the most complicated thing because I need to remember that for most people, that you don't fall back to your own learning style when you train.
Yes.
And that's the difficult part. Now, I'm so lucky that I'm pretty much in the middle. So for me, it's easy to go around.
Yes.
But lots of our trainers, and that's very natural, lots of our trainers are here because we're training subject matter.
Yes.
We know about this. We are expert about this.
Yes.
So we've got to be careful that we don't fall back here.
Yes. And just be there, because it's so easy to present what and give some exercises how. Yes, we need to travel the whole circle.
We need to travel the whole circle.
And also those people who have the blue and the green preference, they also need to find their why, because they're not ready to learn before they have their own why.
Exactly.
They will have the motivation when they have found their own why.
Exactly.
And of course they need the adaptation.
Exactly.
Yes.